Hello, how's it going? In today's video, I'm covering the suffering of the Dark Irons and the Molten Core from Chronicle Volume 3. So let's go! As a little recap, many centuries ago, Sorcerer Dagran Thaurissan had kinda dicked over his own people, the Dark Iron Dwarves. He'd summoned Ragnaros the Fire Lord back to Azeroth, and this ultimately killed a lot of people and formed the volcano known as Blackrock Mountain. The surviving Dark Irons had carved out a home in the volcano's depths called Shadowforge City, and were forced to serve the Fire Lord and his lieutenants. The other dwarf clans weren't exactly in a hurry to help the Dark Iron Dwarves. They'd been the ones that had started the War of the Three Hammers. So Sodom, they made their bed, now they can lie in it. Nowadays, the Dark Irons were ruled by a descendant of the long-dead Sorcerer Thane, called Emperor Dagran Thaurissan. Ragnaros had ordered Dagran to prepare the Dark Irons for a new war, and the Emperor was pretty excited. He'd long dreamed of conquering the other dwarf clans. It would be cool to rule over all of the dwarves, but also, their combined power could be enough to finally break free of the Fire Lord's control. The first act of aggression was the kidnapping of Princess Moira Bronzebeard. She was the daughter of Ironforge's king, Magni Bronzebeard, before he was all diamondy. Dagran's intention was to use her as a hostage once the war had begun. But what Dagran didn't foresee was, he bloody fell in love with the princess. She had a sharp wit and a strong will, and she wasn't intimidated by her predicament at all. They'd have long discussions about their hopes and dreams. Moira was heir to the Ironforge throne, but her dad had always been like, a woman? As king? That's bloody preposterous. And Dagran wanted to free his people from enslavement, and he was willing to do anything to achieve that. They both looked at each other and realised they went together like butter and cheese, so within a couple of months, Moira and Dagran were married. King Magni heard rumours of this and was like, you what, mate? He recruited a covert team of Alliance champions to infiltrate the Dark Iron stronghold and rescue Moira. They cut their way through Shadowforge City until they reached the Imperial seat. They made the rookie mistake of not clearing the room before pulling Thaurissan, but it was okay. Eventually, the Emperor was slain, and the Alliance infiltrators turned to Moira like, it's okay now, princess. We've rescued you. Bit weird that you were healing him during that battle. And to their surprise, she was bloody furious. She told them to sod off and announced that she was pregnant. She'd come to believe in Dagran's quest to free his people, and she intended to carry it on for him now he was all dead and stuff. The strike on Shadowforge City had left the Dark Iron clan in absolute chaos, and this was something Moira could use to her advantage. Ragnaros' lieutenants were deeply suspicious of just how loyal she would be to the Fire Lord, but they were too busy trying to regain control over the Dark Irons to keep a close watch on her. She quietly let out word that the Dark Irons were being forced to create a massive army for the Fire Lord. Dagran's death had delayed this, but not for long. She also made it pretty clear that there were untold riches and powerful artifacts within the mountain. Her hope was, this news would reach some adventurous or greedy heroes who would band together to shatter Ragnaros' defences and banish the Fire Lord back to the elemental plane. However, things turned out even better. Before the Alliance or Horde acted on the rumours, another force did, the Hydraxian Waterlords. These were elemental beings of water, so they weren't big fans of fire elementals. They offered aid and reward to anyone who would challenge Ragnaros, so it wasn't long before the Waterlords had recruited around about 40 people to invade the Fire Lord's domain at the heart of the mountain, the Molten Core. I've mentioned previously that I wanted to start using people's characters in the videos. That's because we're doing dungeons and raids now, but I don't have 40 characters to use. Plus that'd be pretty hard to animate, so we'll just use a few of them to represent the entire raid group, and cross-faction because who cares? Upon entering the Molten Core, the champions carefully fought their way through the stronghold, engaging and killing the greatest of the fire elementals. As the Fire Lord's defenders fell, the champions used the gifts of the Waterlords to destroy Ragnaros' protective runes. There was now no barrier between them and the big boss man. The champions then ran into the central chamber and engaged Ragnaros himself, although my character fell into the lava and died. Res please. The Fire Lord's strength was legendary, but the champions had tactics. The melee and close support spread out upon the inner ring, whilst the ranged support and healers placed themselves on the outer ring. The main tanks pulled, and then everyone just focused on all-out attacks. Ranged DPS burned trinkets and cooldowns because for some reason Ragnaros didn't seem all that bothered by them, and just kept attacking people closest to him. My character died again because he got knocked back into the lava, because he's an idiot. After about 3 minutes, Ragnaros suddenly just disappeared into the ground, and 8 of his sons started fighting instead. But they only did fire damage and everyone was wearing fire-resistant gear, so it was fine. The group focused each of the sons one by one until they were all dead, and then Ragnaros reappeared from the ground like, oh shit, you killed 8 of my sons. Oh well, I've got loads of sons. I'll probably disappear into the ground again 3 minutes from now and send another 8 at you. But he didn't last another 3 minutes, because this group was bloody brilliant. Apart from me, I had no business being there. In defeat, Ragnaros was banished back to the elemental plane. The Dark Iron Dwarves were now free. Those who had doubted Moira now begged for forgiveness. She'd had the right to rule them, but as their liberator, she now had their loyalty. But this didn't mean everything was dandy forevermore for the Dark Irons. Plus Moira was also pretty convinced she still wanted to carry on her husband's dream of conquest. And we're leaving it there! So that's kind of the way I want to do the Volume 3 videos moving forward. Weird little raid walkthroughs, mixed in with the lore. I don't know if you guys enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments. Was it any good? In the next Volume 3 video, we're doing a couple of dungeons. Mysteries of Maraudon and the Ruins of Diamall. As always, thanks very much to those of you who support the channel as patrons. If anyone would like to support the channel in that way, links in the description. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all there's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!